I'm Brigantia, Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Sunday. Let's take a look at the lessons we've been learning about Thor over the past month. We've been getting kind of a cursory introduction to him. It hasn't been particularly in-depth, but it's just enough for us to get kind of a sense of what this god is all about. But of course, it always comes back to what can we learn from him? How can we apply this in our lives? So I wanted to bring out 5 different things. The first is that the will to act can overpower many obstacles. Now, if you've done any kind of reading of and any of the myths of Thor, he could be a trifle hot-headed, and he did have a tendency to leap before he looked. However, what he was not lacking was the capacity to take action. He was not frozen. He was not stagnating. He wasn't resting on his laurels. If something needed to be done, off he went before you could blink, and then he was doing that. And I think sometimes just getting started, even with our own personal projects, that is literally half the battle. Because once you're in motion and you've committed to your path, you have the tendency to stay into motion, and that makes obstacles a lot more manageable. But if you're just sitting on the starting line, staring at the obstacles you can see down the road, well, you are not seeing that there are things you might learn along the way or gather up that could help you deal with those things. You're just saying, oh, well, I don't know how to deal with that right now. So sometimes just getting started on the path and then taking problems just one little chunk at a time, that can be a more effective strategy than saying, and this is how it fits into my empire of plant. No, 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 no. You need to deal with what's immediately right in front of you, and that begins with taking action. The second thing I'd like to point out is that his example shows that it is noble and honorable to be a protector and to use strength to aid those weaker. Now, part of aiding those who are weaker than us is about enhancing their own capability to act for themselves. This isn't the kind of ideology in which you need permanent victims that if you don't have someone who you are doing something for them, then you have no way to demonstrate your own good qualities. No, this is about strengthening people, whether it's just strengthening their courage to take the actions they need to take, or if it's about literally teaching someone how to effectively defend themselves, or, in smaller things about, here's how you can construct your resume so you appear to best advantage. Maybe we don't always think the same way. We don't have all the same thought processes, and different people find different things challenging. So if we have a strength where someone else has a weakness, lending them our strength, it can help them overcome their obstacles. And it's making use of what we have. And that's an honorable thing to do. Third thing, love your family. Thor was very family-oriented. He loved his wife, he loved his children, and it's worth contemplating the state of our own marriages and family relationships. We have all kinds of advice about how to get out of a situation, but we have far fewer voices talking about what does it take to stay in. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about staying in abusive relationships. That's not what this is about. But I am talking about, if you have two willing parties who are willing to treat each other decently, what can you do to enrich that relationship? Of course, it does require cooperation from everyone involved, but it can be done. And are we more committed to doing that, or are we looking for an exit ramp? Food for thought. The fourth thing I want to draw attention to is that Thor's union with his wife Sif. This symbolizes the importance of working the land and also protecting that land. Now, the work that we do, whether it is literal agricultural related work or anything that we do to provide for ourselves, but that work matters in and of itself. It gives us a sense of worth, of dignity. We are earning our own way. And defending our ability to work, our right to work, and to earn our own fortunes and keep what we have from people who would take it, that is equally important. And that's something that I think is a lesson we could do well to meditate on, especially in the COVID hysteria. People were told, oh, well, you don't have the right to decide whether or not you go to work or stay in business. No, that's all up to the state. No one has the right to tell you that you do not have the right to go out and do honest labor. No one has the right to say that you don't have the right and the responsibility to take care of yourself. No one. Do not listen to the voices of people who would make you slaves. Just don't do it. And the fifth is to be mindful of our tempers. Thor could definitely lose it, and sometimes he lost it in epic fashion. And on more than one occasion, that caused considerable problems. But learning to walk away from the situation when we're in a blind rage and striving to retain our ability to just think things through under pressure and to take action in a calm and measured fashion, that is absolutely invaluable. So you see, we can learn things from the god's strengths, we can learn things from particular god's weaknesses, and this is all about trying to mold our characters in a way to where we are becoming the best version of ourselves. Not the best version of someone else. They need to do that for themselves, but the best version of ourselves, and enhancing our strengths, using those strengths in a better directed way, and also not just treating our weaknesses as this given or as something that could never possibly be improved. I mean, maybe we will always be weaker in certain areas, but we could be stronger in it than we are today if we take action, if we cultivate it, if we develop it. And you never know, something that might be a weakness in our current circumstances might prove to be a strength later on. So we have to explore ourselves. We have to, really know the whole breadth and scope of our souls. And that's one of the things that I'm taking from our introductory exploration of this particular deity. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Next month we will be investigating another deity, and I hope you will come back for that. This may not necessarily be the end of the videos on Thor and everything else, but it'll just be kind of an as things come up sort of basis. So just look for an addition to the playlist from time to time. But if you'd like to discuss Thor, if he's a deity that you have a lot of experience with and you'd like to share some of the things you've learned from him that have really meant a lot to do, you're very welcome to join the conversation on our Discord server. It's called Blackbird's Brew. There's a link to join in the description box below. And of course, subscribe, like, leave a comment. I'll see you next time.